then guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. Look, it seems like this is the best time to be a boxing fan. It is incredible. In the last few weeks, the fights that we've seen in boxing is what we've been crying for a long time, right? Last week we saw Bivol Beterbiev, card, which in my opinion was the greatest card we've ever seen, and that card delivered, right? This week we've seen Chris Eubank Jr. smash egg in the face of Conor Benn, and the whole boxing world is in a frenzy, right? So boxing is at a great place and there's so much to talk about, right? So let's have a look at what the boxing headlines is saying right now. Let's see what we have here. So what's this one? Daniel Dubois wants Usyk rematch. Usyk is who we're going after next. Do you know what? Somebody actually in my comment section implied that Daniel Dubois probably dodged the Joseph Parker fight because he wanted to go straight to fighting Usyk, which I don't believe it, right? Because he didn't get paid. He wasn't going to pull out. That was a big payday for him in Saudi Arabia, and I feel like Daniel Dubois is very confident. Although I think he's overconfident, but I think he feels very confident after beating AJ to be able to defeat Joseph Parker. So I don't think he would pull out of that fight. I think he was legitimately sick. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But going for the Usyk fight, you guys know the way I think about this fight. I just think that Usyk is way too big, too good for Dubois. I think Dubois will put up a very good... did I say too big, too good? No. Usyk is too good, too clever, too smart, and just a better boxer than Dubois. Dubois is of course bigger than Usyk, but Usyk is just, an all-round better boxer and a smarter boxer than Dubois. But Dubois is very confident, and this is the heavyweight division, right? One shot can change literally everything. So Dubois has a chance, but in this Usyk fight, I give Dubois 20% chance. I give Usyk 80%, give Dubois 20%. But look, I'd love to see the rematch because I think Usyk, once again, will put on a masterclass and get rid of Dubois. So it'll be interesting to see when that fight will be made. I'm sure they are talking about it now to make that fight. So that'll be really interesting to see. What's this one here? It's a really interesting one. Look, Gervonta Davis is fighting Lemon Roach actually tonight in the US. We'll be able to watch that here around 4 or 5 o'clock in the night. Do you know what? Gervonta Davis is a strange one because he's not fighting top opponents. Gervonta Davis is not, fighting the fighters that we want to see. So I'm not sure that this Lemon Roach fight has garnered the attention that he needs in this fight. So for you guys in the US that I'm always chatting with you guys, please put in the comment section below, how is this fight being received in the US? Is Gervonta Davis being lauded for Lemon Roach fight, or are people in the US just bemoaning this fight? Let me know, because I don't think a lot of people around Europe and in the UK are really excited about Gervonta Davis fighting the likes of Lemon Roach when he could fight Shakur Stevenson, he could fight Devin Haney, right? There are fights there, right? The top level fights for Gervonta Davis to be fighting. And I think he's just wasting his time fighting these guys that nobody wants to see. What's this one? Gervonta Davis calls Riyadh photo devil-ish, accuses fighters of selling their souls. You see, this is the problem, right? The likes of Gervonta Davis, and this is where the PBC and those other guys in the US, this is what they did, where boxing became uninteresting because they, refused to fight top fighters. Gervonta Davis is criticizing the picture of Tank and Roach and literally almost everyone in boxing apart from him on that picture. Which for me, that picture shows what the boxing is at the moment. Boxing is incredible. So what this picture shows me that Tank and Roach is bringing everyone together. making competitive fights, and boxers are making more money now, which is great, because boxing is a really dangerous sport. You can lose your life anytime you step in the ring. So, and the competition is great, of course. So Gervonta Davis criticizing this picture basically says a lot about himself, really, because he doesn't want to be competitive. He doesn't want to get in there and have a fight and with a real live opponent. So he's criticizing the man that is putting on the best fights. Nobody's taking Gervonta Davis seriously on that one. What's this one here? From Weasel to Idiot. Eubank Jr. and Han engage in exchange, with Ben being quiet. The second press conference of Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn fight was interesting. I think that is where this quote came from, where Chris Eubank Jr. told Eddie Hearn to basically shut up. He told Eddie Hearn, I don't want to hear from you. I'm fighting Conor Benn. I want to hear more from Conor Benn rather than hearing from you. So that was really interesting to see that someone is actually putting, the pressure on Eddie Hearn. And Chris Eubank Jr. looked to take control of the press conference. That was really interesting to see. Like, he was really in control. He was telling Eddie Hearn, I don't want to hear from you. He was threatening, threatening Nigel Benn, saying that if Nigel Benn put his hands on him again, Nigel Benn would not get his hands back. So Eubank Jr. is having a lot of words for his opponent. So that's interesting. This is boxing, right? The theatrics that comes with the press conferences, the weigh-ins and the face-offs. This is all part of boxing. What really matters is that they get in the ring and have a fight. What really matters is that they get in the ring and really, be competitive. So that was really interesting to see how, Eubank Jr. is telling Eddie Hearn, I do not want to hear from you. What is this one here? So this is a really interesting one, right? Like, this one, I feel like it needs talking about. And we've talked about a Gervonta Davis fight, right? And it's just not really interesting. De La Hoya slams Canelo's scar selection. People want Benavidez and big fight. Well, Oscar De La Hoya has been criticizing Canelo for since they stopped working together. So, I am not really surprised that Oscar De La Hoya is criticizing Canelo here again, because I think anytime he gets the opportunity, he will take a swing at Canelo. So it is literally what Oscar De La Hoya does, really. What's this one here? Escape from Riyadh. Hamza Shira's lucky draw, injured hand, and a career at a turning point. It's really interesting. I thought Carlos Adames won the fight. I thought he put a lot of pressure. I thought he landed the better shots. I thought he was the ring general in there. I thought his body shots was really good. Of course, the judges called it a draw, which a lot of people in boxing actually thought that Carlos Adames won the fight. So, I mean, if you're Hamza Shiraz, what do you do? Do you have a rematch? Do you take on another opponent and then have a rematch in a latter date, on a latter date? That is something for him and his team to think about. But I don't think it looked good on Riyadh season and Hamza Shiraz, because I think Carlos Adames won that fight. Although I picked Hamza Shiraz to win, I'll be honest and I would say Carlos Adames actually won that fight. What's this one here? Should Chris Eubank Jr. be punished by the British Boxing Board for throwing an egg in Conor Benn's face? I think so. At least some sort of fine. Look, this is all part of boxing, and I've actually had a conversation with a few people in the comment section about this being pantomime and this is not part. Look, guys, the theatrics at press conferences is part of boxing. Let me remind you guys, Muhammad Ali in the fight against Sonny Liston in 1964, I believe. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. In 64, the first fight, Muhammad Ali actually drove to Sonny Liston's training camp with a walkie-talkie. I think that's the intercom thing, and he started making so much noise in the face of, before the fight at the weigh-in, Muhammad Ali wanted to punch Sonny Liston. He called Sonny Liston a lot of names, and he wanted to have a fight before the fight in the ring. So look, this is part of boxing, guys. But of course, if someone does it, then he needs to be punished. But unfortunately, this is part of boxing. Chris Eubank Jr. needs to pay a fine for throwing egg at Conor Benn, because the egg could have entered his eyes, could have entered his ears, it could have pushed the fight back. I mean, Derek Chisora was fined for a lot of his antics at the press conference. So yes, but I think, should he needs to be fined or get a punishment? Absolutely. Is it part of boxing? It is part of combat sports. Absolutely. This is just the nature of the sports, really. What's this one here? Ben Shalom questions Hans fighter reaction to Eubank Jr.'s prank. Well, it's going on, really. What's this here? Chris Eubank Jr.'s promoter Ben Shalom says Eddie Hearn thinks he's a fighter now after he was shoved by him. Do you know what? During the scuffle between Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, Eddie Hearn actually pushed Ben Shalom, which it wasn't a great look, because in the end it was not a fight between them two. So why would Eddie Hearn and Ben Shalom have a fight? So that was distasteful. You don't want to see that. This was between both fighters, and that's what we wanted to see. But yeah, it's one of those where it happened, and people move on from there. What's this one here? Frank Warren says it would be either Usyk or maybe AJ next for Daniel Dubois. That's really interesting. I think, do you know what, guys? Anthony Joshua, I don't think is going to take the Dubois fight. Let me put it that way. I think he, wants a world title, but I don't think he wants to go straight into Daniel Dubois because of the way he was demolished. Or maybe he would take that fight, but he wanted a bit more time between the first fight and the second fight. So I think Daniel Dubois' next fight is going to be Usyk, absolutely. And Frank Warren saying it's either Usyk or Joshua is really interesting, because I think Joshua, once again, would want to take the fight, but he wants a bit more time between the first fight and the second fight. And that's why I think that Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois was a really good fight to happen. That way, even if Dubois won, Joshua would have thought maybe, he would have seen some chinks in Daniel Dubois' armor and wanted the fight at a later stage. I don't think Joshua wanted the fight straight away, because, in my opinion, if Joshua had taken Daniel Dubois, 4 months after he was beaten at Wembley, he would have been destroyed again, because I think it was too short. When it comes to Usyk, we know he is, a remarkable fighter. We know that Usyk will fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. So I think Usyk will gladly take that Dubois fight next, and really, stop him, I think, in my opinion. So look, this is what I think about that. But you guys get in the comment section and let me know what you think about all the boxing news and the headlines we've discussed on this video. As always, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.